Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to work on a meatball recipe, chicken piccata meatballs. And I did change up some of the things because, you know, I always do. The recipe requires some milk-soaked bread, white bread. I'm going to just go ahead and do my panko like always. I didn't have a shallot, so I'm just going to take an onion and I've chopped it real fine, and we're going to use that. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me get my gloves on. Okay, y'all, so ground chicken is what we're going to use. If you had to, you could use ground turkey. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's going to have a slight different texture or twang to it. Turkey's got like a little bit of a wild taste to it, where chicken's more bland. I'm going to do 2 pounds, but that's the only thing I'm really going to change about the recipe itself. Let me grab an egg because I forgot an egg. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna get an egg over here. Okay, so I'm going to use some cheese. We're going to need some parm. And it says about half a cup. It needs to be freshly done, but I don't have that. So now on the cheese, we're probably going to do about a cup's worth. And set that aside. We've got 1 egg. You know, I may try to do a second one. I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. I chopped up a little bit more chopped onion than the size of a shallot would be. So I think it'll be fine because we have the extra meat. The zest of 1 lemon. And if you want a strong lemon flavor, you can probably do 2. But I really do not. My husband's not going to know that this has lemon in it. I'm going to keep that a secret. And we're going to need some salt. Kosher salt. I'm going to put probably closer to a teaspoon in. Not too much because your parm is going to have a little bit of salt in it. 2 tablespoons of fresh parsley, but I'm going to do just a couple of teaspoons. And the only reason I'm doing a couple is because we have 2 pounds worth of meat. Alright, so now all we have to do is mix all this together. We're going to make our meatballs. And you're going to cook your meatballs. And then we're going to make our sauce. And that's basically all it is. It's a different type of sauce, not a spaghetti based sauce. It's a cream sauce that's got a lemon flavor. And then I'm going to serve it over homemade mashed potatoes and fresh green beans on the side. And if you ever ask yourself why we eat so many green beans, it's because my husband, that's like the only vegetable he'll eat. We do eat other things periodically. Kids are fine with it, so sorry for the noise. Okay, so this is going to be pretty easy to mix together. You just need to make sure it's completely mixed all the way throughout. Chicken and ground turkey both are both very easy to mix things with, whereas ground beef is like harder to do. All right, so give me a few minutes and let me get my pan ready because dummy me didn't get it ready first, and I'll be right back with you. All right, so got my pan here. I'm going to spray it lightly to help, you know, loosen these up once it's time to remove them from the pan. And I'm just going to do about 1 inch, 1.5 inch, something like that. We've got plenty of chicken meat here. So it's not going to take, can y'all see that? Okay. It's not going to take, you know, you don't have to do make huge meatballs. You can, I mean, 2 pounds of that gives you plenty. And this is just going to have a faint lemon flavor because I did not want the strong lemon flavor. Alright, when I get these done, I'll come right back to you and tell you what we need to do with them. Okay, y'all. So these are the meatballs all mixed up. And if I'm not mistaken, I forgot again to put in breadcrumbs. So what you'll do is probably anywhere from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup, depending on how wet your meat is. What you're looking for is for it to come together really well. These still came together pretty well for them to not have any in it. I don't know. I don't think it would be a recipe for me unless I forgot something. I'm so focused on trying to, you know, let y'all know the ins and outs and if there's anything that you need to purchase versus not purchase or whatever, that sometimes I forget. Well, a lot of times I forget. So I'm sorry about that. Anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Probably no more than that. I wouldn't even put, it would probably be closer to 1/4 if you use ground chicken. But that's what I would do. You can follow the recipe because I didn't with the milk soaked bread. That's an old-fashioned method, but you know, there's been lots of times I've forgotten to put the breadcrumbs in, even just, you know, cooking at home. So, and the recipe calls for these to be put under the broiler for like 10 minutes. You can do that, but what I'm going to do is just stick them in the oven for I don't know, just 15-20 minutes. It's not going to take long because it's chicken and it's chicken breast, it's ground chicken breast. 15-20 minutes, 350 degree oven. I don't know about the broiler because I'm worried it's not going to be done enough. I don't want to make sure they get done. So you can do that, or you can, you know, follow the recipe. Broil it for like 10 minutes and you have to watch them so that they don't burn. If I put them in 350, 15-20 minutes, I don't have to stand guard. So there's that. Alright, I'll see you back here in a few minutes and we will get started on the cream sauce. Okay, y'all, so the meatballs are done. I've already taken those off of the cookie sheet and put them in a bowl. So they're waiting over here for me to be used. But right now we're going to make the cream sauce that goes with it. And the cream sauce consists of some heavy cream, some chicken broth, and then basically it's going to be a chicken flavored sauce with a little bit of lemon in it. So right now I'm sauteing a little bit of salt and my really finely chopped onion, but if you got shallots, that would probably be preferable for this. But a little bit of onion will work. It's not that big a deal. I don't feel it is. I think it'll still flavor the same. So right now, waiting on this. And I'm only going to cook these until they're soft and they're really small, you know, small cut. And I wouldn't say fine or minced, but they're about as small as I can possibly get. So as soon as this softens, which shouldn't take much longer, I'm going to put a tablespoon of flour in it, and we're going to whisk that, and then we're going to basically make like a chicken sauce, and that's going to be for our meatballs to go in. But I've also got to make some mashed potatoes because I'm going to put it over mashed potatoes. Okay, so let me give this another minute or so, and then I'll be right back. So we're going to go ahead and start, because these little onions will cook very quickly, so I don't want them to cook too much. So you're going to put about a tablespoon of all-purpose flour in this. And basically your goal is to absorb at least most of this oil. Okay. Now, we're going to slowly put in our chicken broth, which is 1 1/4 cups of chicken broth, and then we have a 1/4 cup of cream. So we're going to put in a little bit here. And about half of our cream. And then we're going to wait. Let this absorb. And it'll thicken. And you have to constantly be stirring it. See, it looks like my onions are already starting to burn. It happens so fast. Okay. All right. I'll be right back. Let's give this time to catch up. Okay, y'all. So I went ahead and added the rest of the cream and the chicken broth. Right now, I'm trying to wait for it to reduce a little bit and thicken. So while I'm waiting, we're going to go ahead and add our parsley, which is only going to be about a few teaspoons because it's just dry. And I need to also add the juice of 1 lemon, which is going to be about 2 tablespoons. So we're going to do that. That may be enough there. That was kind of a juicy one. We'll just do half a lemon. Put a little bit of pepper in this. Okay, so I'm going to let it thicken a little bit. So we're going to give it about 5 minutes and let it thicken. I'm going to cut it down on a little bit of a low heat. And I'll be right back with you when I add the meatballs. Hold on. Okay, y'all. So I tasted it. Even though it just kind of looks really light colored, tastes great. So I'm going to go ahead and put in the meatballs that have now got cold, because they had to wait so long. So I'm fixing to work on some mashed potatoes and everything and show you everything plated up. I just wanted to go ahead and add this so that you can see the meatballs in the sauce. It's a real thin, lemony chicken kind of sauce. I wish it was a little bit more colorful, but you know. I did add some pepper to it as well. Let me get a spoon. Let me move these over just a little bit. Just want to kind of put the sauce over them. So it doesn't look like much, but it's very flavorful. All right, so what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go ahead and I'll come back once I get my mashed potatoes ready, and I'm gonna plate this up for y'all so y'all can see it. All right, I'll see you back here in a few. Hey y'all, I have got everything ready and done. Put the meatballs on a bed of mashed potatoes, and I made some fresh green beans. I just sauteed the green beans, you know, cut, trim, wash, sauteed them in some oil, and I put some of this on them and a little bit of pepper, and we're ready for dinner. Real easy and simple. A little bit of prep work for the meatballs, but other than that, it's going to be a good supper. Make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to make a chicken mac and cheese, homemade. And I am going to tweak the recipe just a little bit. So you may want to follow the recipe, you may want to follow me, I don't know. But the recipe does call for white wine or white cooking wine. I forgot to pick some up. But the good news is that you can use chicken broth in place of that. And I have done that several times. So we're going to do that today. So right now what I'm doing is I'm getting my chicken breast cut, cooked, seasoned, the whole thing. I'm just trying to make sure these few little pieces are done enough. You needed to take 2 chicken breasts, good sized ones, slice them, you know, this way, long ways, not this way, and pound them flat. They don't have to be pretty because you're going to chop them up. And then after you cook them and they've rested for about 10 minutes or so, or just whenever you're ready to add them to it, you'll add them to the finished product, but you'll chop them up right before. So right now I'm making sure that they're cooked all the way through. I think they are, but I just want to be sure. And I've got another batch. You may want to cook them in batches. I've got the first batch sitting and draining right now. Alright, you're going to also want to use small, well, I use small shell pasta. You could do medium shell if you'd want to, but we've never done small. I don't remember ever doing it, so I decided this time I would. So those are just a few of the changes, and I'm going to kind of do this out of order than the actual recipe. So if you end up going to get the printed recipe, you'll see that it's not exactly the same. I'm doing it a little bit my way. So I'm going to put the link to the recipe below, of course, like always, but this may differ a little bit from it, and it's only because I want to do it a little bit different. Alright, so let me get my flour. Oh, okay. And a whisk. We're going to need both of those. I did drain off some of the grease off of this. Of course, it didn't have much. And I cooked it with a little bit of oil. So I did drain some of that off. That way it wouldn't overpower my flour that I'm going to have to use. So, there's that. Let me see here. You're going to need about 3 tablespoons, about 2 tablespoons of oil or butter. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little bit of oil that I have in here. And then we'll probably put a little bit of butter. Let me go ahead and get a little bit of butter. You can do however you feel that you need to. So I'm only going to put about a tablespoon or so of butter in there because I feel like I have enough. Sorry, grease already in there. And you're going to need that because it's going to be sort of like a gravy type thing. And we're going to put some all-purpose flour in here. We're going to use about 3 tablespoons. And you're going to wait until your butter is melted. There we go. Before you mix it with it. So I just put it on the other side of the pan. I'm fixing to whisk it all together. I'm just waiting for that butter to melt. Okay. So let's just hope I don't mess this up. How about that? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to make basically like a little chicken gravy that's flavored with cheese. And that's going to be our cheese sauce, you know, the sauce that will go all over everything. Okay. Now, you need 1.5 cups, half and half. So it's going to be like a creamy gravy or a milk gravy. 1.5 of half and half. I've used milk before, so you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and pour a little bit in, and I'm going to whisk it all together. Get this going a little bit more. So basically what you do is you wait for the heat to catch up because you just kind of cooled it off, and then you'll add some more, and it'll soak all this up. Just takes patience. And like I said, I'm gonna put about a cup of broth or so in this to kind of thin it out, because we needed a 1/2 cup of broth and then a 1/2 cup of the dry white wine, which I told you we were gonna substitute. See how it's thickening? We were gonna substitute chicken broth for that. Sorry, y'all, I get sidetracked with what I'm doing versus what I'm saying. Alright, so I'm going to whisk this together, give it a minute to catch up, and then we're going to add the chicken broth and all the other little things that go with it. And this is a stovetop meal. So all this is, it is one pan, but I mean, I have to put the pasta in another pan to be able to do this. But instead, this is just a stovetop meal. We're not going to call it a one-pot meal. And for everybody that has commented on my nonstick skillet versus my metal utensils, I am not grinding these down into my pans. I don't do that. And they don't get scratched up. After a while, they will be scratched up, but it takes quite a long time. But I also buy cheap non-stick just for daily use. Alright, so this is starting to thicken up again, so I need to go ahead and pour the rest of my 1/2 and 1/2 in, and then we're going to use our chicken broth to thin it out. Okay, and I am going to do what the author of the recipe said. She said to use 1/2 of a bouillon cube. Why 1/2? I don't understand. Maybe it's just enough chicken flavoring to put in this along with the broth. So I've got my 1/2 of cube in here, and we're going to add that to the broth that I already have. And I'm going to put it in my broth and kind of whisk it together, and it's probably not going to do anything. It's not going to dissolve just yet, so that's fine. It'll dissolve once it gets in the pan. And then we have several other little things that we need to add to this. Before we add our cheese, we're going to need some dry mustard powder. We're going to need a little bit of hot sauce and several different seasonings, and we'll get all that going in just a second. Let's give this time to catch up just a little bit. And I need to get my paprika. Let's see where it's at, if I can find it. Okay. All right. I want it to thicken up just a little bit more. Hopefully it's not too white. Okay. I didn't want it to be too bright for y'all. But I'm having to do this a lot lately, so it seems like I'm getting better and better at this whole milk gravy, chicken gravy thing. And that's basically all it is. You know, you have your roux, and then you add however you want it. You know, tomato gravy's different, beef gravy's different, you know. But you're going to change the flavorings. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and add about half of the chicken broth, and I'm just going to let it catch up again, just like we were doing a minute ago. We're going to let it thicken, and then we're going to start putting all of our other things in. Oops. Well, you know what? We can go ahead and do that now. We can do our seasonings at least while we wait. You're going to need a teaspoon of dry mustard. And I've got that here. Okay. Alright, teaspoon of dry mustard. Teaspoon of hot sauce. Hopefully that wasn't too much. Mix all that up. Okay, this is all helping with the flavoring. Shouldn't be able to taste it too much. Alright. So now we're going to need some onion powder, garlic powder, and parsley. We're going to do about a half a teaspoon of each. So, because we're going to have a little bit of flavor. And guess what I didn't do? I didn't open my new garlic powder. Alright. Half a teaspoon. Oops. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. Okay. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit so it doesn't get too ahead of me. Alright. Parsley, half a teaspoon. And then we need a quarter of a teaspoon of pepper and a quarter teaspoon of paprika. And you have to be careful of the paprika because it will change the color. So I'm not putting much in there. Hopefully it won't do too much damage. Alright, so it probably would have a lot more flavor if you use the dry wine. But you can substitute for that. There goes our bouillon cube. You do not have to be bound to that. And they do sell a cooking wine. Just look probably where your spices and stuff are, where I think. I haven't bought it in so long. I need to buy some though. Look where your spices and stuff are sold in the store, in the grocery store. And then you can probably find it there. Okay. So let's go back over everything. We've got chicken broth, half and half, our bouillon cube, our hot sauce, our mustard powder. All of our seasonings are in there. And I'm trying to thicken this up just a tiny tad before we add anything else. And in the end, you may have to still add some salt and pepper. But keep in mind that your chicken has salt and pepper on it as well. Hopefully my bouillon cube has dissolved. I don't know. Okay. So a chicken flavored gravy. That's what it's like right now. So let me get this little bit off of here. Oh, there's the bouillon cube. It's still dissolving. Okay. I'm going to cut this low. I still want it to be hot, 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 but I want it to slow down just a little bit. Alright, so we're ready to add our cheese now. You need to add cheese that you shred yourself, straight from the block, because of the starchiness on the cheese. It may prevent it from going together like it should. So even though I didn't do that for my parm, I did do it for my cheddar. And you're going to need about almost 2 cups of cheddar. 1 3/4 cups of that. And just 1/4 cup of parm. Just enough to give it that little bit of a wang. And that's all. I'm going to turn this off because I don't want it to scorch. And you can let it thicken up just a little. And it's going to look like there's more sauce than need be. But we still have to add our chicken and our pasta. So let me get that pasta now. And we'll go ahead and add it. Okay, y'all. So now all I have to do is add the pasta. I'm going to go ahead and stir it. And then I took the chicken and I chopped it up into bite-sized pieces. I'll add that. And that's it. We'll just get this combined and we can serve it. I'm either going to serve it with a salad and green beans or just green beans. I haven't decided yet. But you want the extra sauce, that way it'll still be saucy after, you know, the macaroni kind of, or the pasta soaks it up. Okay, make sure you like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.